Welcome to another episode of the Lightspeed Investing Podcast. I'm so excited today to have Katarina here with us as we talk about her success recently that she has achieved in the trading world, specifically trading futures and commodities, and how she got into it. Katarina, how you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm super fantastic. I'm so excited to have you here. Where are you tuning in from specifically?
I live in Orlando, Florida.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Well, currently in the Midwest. It's a little gloomy weather today, so maybe you can cheer me up with some of your recent success. I know that you were brought in because your father, Dr. Joe, who's one of our top successful students, you joined about 2 months after him, right? What was your occupation, at that time? If are you in medicine, and if you want to kind of share with the people, right, like, what were you doing before you got into this?
Yeah, so my background is actually in software engineering. I did coding for a flight simulator company.
Hmm.
Um, and then I recently, after getting married, moved to Orlando and found myself kind of in the middle of work, doing both software engineering and kind of just other work on the side. And thanks to my dad, he kind of introduced me to this, being like, hey, you want to work from home, but your husband's career is kind of something that travels a lot. And
Mm.
so I wanted something that I was able to travel with him without being like, oh, I need days off, or
Hmm.
something like that. And it's just been a real game changer for everything.
No, I can imagine so because you get to work remotely and you get to kind of apply the skill sets that you have learned in engineering, right, and apply it over here. So, was this like a big shock when you first learned about this? Like, what was your impression?
It's a little shocking because also knowing my dad is just never something that's ever been brought up. My uncle was, if anything, the person that would be like, oh, look at the stocks. My dad was just like,
Right.
you know, but I think he just saw how much potential there is and how kind of awesome it is. Honestly, it's a little stressful at times, but it's definitely benefits in the long run. And it's just really kind of amazing.
What is it about the game itself of trading that appeals to you?
For me, I love puzzles and I love challenges. So, a very difficult sometimes game to get into just mentally. Um, and I kind of enjoy a challenge. That's why I love software engineering. And I also love puzzles. So,
Sure.
this was like a thing of being like, oh, it's kind of like a puzzle to be like, okay, you're going, when are you going in? Why are you going in? All different types of reasoning and just logistics behind it,
Hmm.
while also kind of having fun and making profit at the same time.
So when you got into this game, did you see a pathway to actually replacing your software engineering income? Like, what was your as you got immersed, right? Like, what was your perspective on this? Oh, maybe I could utilize this high income skill set as supplemental income, right? Because some people, we've actually retired medical professionals from their careers if they want to, right? As this game can be supplemental, full time, or a full blown career. I'm curious, what kind of mindset did you have going in, and what is your mindset now?
It's not more as like a supplemental, just a way to also make bills for, being newly married. I guess not newly, about a year now, but
Mm,
just all the new things that come into it. My husband and I want to get a house. So looking at it from that perspective, moving from the apartment life into getting a house and just the potential it has for making a lot in a short amount of time. Not necessarily that that's like it's not like a get rich quick scheme. It does take a lot of work, but just the potential that it has and the success that I've seen so far,
hmm.
I would have made the same amount working, 8, 9 hour shifts at my other job.
Hmm. What did you specifically do? Was it just coding like all day, or did you also interact with clients here and there and
I
talk
did
to
both.
people?
I did mainly coding defensive systems for flight simulators for the Air
Okay.
Force.
Oh, nice.
Um, but yeah, there was times where I had to go on site. So I would be on a military base for multiple weeks at a time, making
Hmm.
sure the code got integrated correctly, working with the clients there, working with the government, working with Air Force, just a bunch of people, and just making sure everything got integrated correctly, working long nights, overnights,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
12, 14-hour shifts, which is a lot sometimes, especially when you're
Okay.
not home.
Yeah, sure. So how were you able to squeeze learning this right with your schedule? What kind of adjustments did you have to make at the beginning?
Well, thanks to my dad, I actually he wanted me to go into this full time to learn it because I
Oh,
think he
wow.
eventually wants me to learn for him, so I could do it for him. But just so I kind of went full time into this. I left my other job and just started really doing all the research I can, day, night studying, paper
Wow.
trading, and trying to figure out what was the best strategy to work for me.
And what did you find was the best strategy that worked? Were you are you more so a trend trader, or doing the other techniques?
Definitely trend trading more than anything else.
I see.
There are some techniques I've learned that have helped me a lot, like looking obviously at the key levels and
Sure.
algorithmic levels and how that bounces. Because I'll be like, I don't know why the heck it's going down. It seems like it's a perfect, trade, and that makes a lot more sense for things. I've also been using something called like the fair value gap method, where it's showing large momentum, so it can move up very quickly,
Hmm.
and you can make your profit in a matter of minutes.
So if for the audience listening in, right, because now we're starting to get technical, let's just zoom out a little bit and give them a sense of your timeline, right? Like, ever since you joined, because I always, coming from surgery, right, talk about how it's important to recognize this, like if you were learning to operate on someone, right? There's a
Yeah.
fundamental difference between learning surgery and actually doing surgery on a live patient, right, in a live OR room, where very similar to putting real money on the line, right? Because there's real psychology and emotions involved. So, in your case, how long did you kind of learn? How long did you paper trade before actually going to the real world, so to speak, putting real money on the line, and then transitioning?
So for me, I started learning, I would say I've been in it for about 3-ish months now. I did about a full month of paper trading for me. I spent a lot of time during that paper trading time. Basically, all my time outside of trading was watching YouTube videos, watching Cal, watching, going back to the market, doing a replay, and be like, okay, so where would I enter in here? But the thing is, for me, when I got to the real money trading, um, I was able to do paper trading actually very well. And then when I got to the real stuff, is I started to kind of fail a bunch, and it was very discouraging for me. I'm not someone who likes to fail at things, and it was a very discouraging time period. But thanks to my dad and my husband, they're just like, keep going. Everyone always says, you're going to have this like little testing period where
That's
you're
right.
going to possibly lose money. And it was very mentally taxing. I'm not going to lie about that for me. But now, the past bunch of weeks, I've been consistently making a lot of good trades and a lot more bigger trades, and it's helped my confidence a
Yeah,
bunch. Because you have to be confident in going into these things. And in the beginning,
absolutely.
I definitely was not. And that is like, oh, is this going to actually work out? Or is it? And then you get
Yeah.
out at the wrong time to try and prevent your losses. And then it's like, oh, it actually did work out. I should have just stayed and kept my rules that I
Well,
put for
and
myself.
that's why it's so important to focus on the inputs, right? While you practice on a mannequin patient, right? Before
Yeah.
you actually go and do your thing in the real world. You want to make the most amount of mistakes in the simulated environment. You want to make sure you try to achieve an 80% accuracy or more before going to live, because your accuracy will naturally wane when you have psychology and emotions involved. So I'm glad that you were able to tweak that, right? And you had the right support around you, because I mean, most people give up right before they're successful. That's
Yeah.
usually, if you study success principles, that seems to be a very interesting phenomenon that does happen. And so, kudos to you for sticking it through. Obviously, this is a skill set that you got to learn. There's a learning curve, but the rewards are great, right? Once you have it down. So now that you're able to make it out of that phase two, right? The mannequin surgery phase. Would you say at the beginning, right? Like, what did you see yourself doing? A couple hundred a day, couple of thousand. Kind of curious what your progress is.
So at the beginning, I was trading like very small contracts, like the MNQ, the MES. So very,
Hmm.
very small ones. So I was being happy making like going from being negative to then making like $50 to $80 a day. And then
Sure.
I pushed that up to like 100, 200 consistently. And then
Hmm.
now I'm currently in the 500 to 1,000 range daily. Um, so, I mean, it's now I'm starting to get in the more profitability standpoint of looking to hopefully make, 1,000, 2,000 a day. Currently, my goal was just like 500 a day because then
Mm,
I look at that as, oh, that pays my bills and I have extra on the side if we want to go on a date night or something.
that's right. Well,
But
500 a day, there's 20 trading days, right, in a month.
yeah,
So
it's
do
about
you
ten
try to
thousand
trade
dollars a
all?
month.
Yep, but do you try to trade all every day of the week? Like, what is your preference to this?
I do try and trade
Okay.
every day of the week. I
Okay.
typically keep it between 9:30 and 11. I have gone past 11 before, and most of the time it's not the best. So I typically try and trade between
Sure.
9:30 and 11, and sometimes between 2:30 and 4.
Right.
That's where I've noticed the most success for my trading without
Mm.
getting too much in the slower movement of the market that
Yep.
has been my detriment
Yeah, you,
before.
you try to take advantage of those first 2 hours of volatility in the mornings, and then there's
Yes.
the good moves that can happen in the afternoons. What about the federal reports that can come out on Wednesday afternoons? How do you feel about those?
They don't affect me too much. I do look at them every
Hmm.
once in a while, but then I look at the market, how it reacts to it. But I have I just try and look at stuff and I try and stick to my strategy. I've in the past done stuff where I haven't stuck to my rules and my strategy and it
Yeah.
just goes all downhill. So any advice I give to anybody trying to get into this is make yourself a strategy and stick to it because that the worst thing you could do is deviate from it. So I
Hmm.
don't really let it affect my trading too much. I try and watch the first 5 minutes, 5 to 15 minutes of the market
Okay.
and see how it reacts. And that's just what I do every day, no matter with the news reports. Obviously, you have to be careful about what time news comes out,
Yeah.
but afternoon news doesn't really affect me. It's more like the 10 o'clock news.
Okay. And obviously coming from software engineering, I'm kind of curious with the line of work that you did, was this something super new to you, or do you feel like that background, had some form of, I would say, benefit, right, to this style of investing, being in front of the screens, making, I would say like pattern recognition analysis, things of that nature. I'm just kind of curious because we do have engineers that tend to do well in this game.
Yeah, so with the software, definitely sitting in front of the computer, that was something I did 12 hours a day already. So
Hmm.
sitting in front of the computer, looking at the screens, being very like picky about how you look at the screens, switching between different screens and looking at multiple things at once, I found okay for me. I know sometimes multitasking with trading can be a little bit like overwhelming, but so having that background helped me with that. The pattern recognition, yes, because you have to do that with coding, as you need to be like, okay, why is this variable acting this way?
Hmm.
Um, so all that definitely helped in the background, and then just a lot of discipline in wanting to learn how this game works. Is if you just at the beginning, if you just be like, okay, I'm only going to do anything from 9:30 to 11, you're not going to be able to learn everything. You need
Hmm.
to like really study, look at the different strategies. There's so many different good strategies out there to
Yeah,
be profitable,
for sure.
and you just need to spend time learning that.
Absolutely. And so for you, let's just kind of summarize it, right? You got in the program because of your dad, who was also successful. And by the way, I definitely want to learn a bit more about him through you because I know it's been hard to get a hold of him during his clinical hours. But with you, so you came in first month, you're paper trading, right? And then the second month, you're going through the from making a small amount in the zeros to the two digits to then the
Yeah.
couple hundred, and now you're trying to stay 500 to 1500 minimum, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that took you what about those 2 extra months to get there? I'm kind of curious if you can paint a picture on that journey there.
Yeah, so it's been like I said, the 500 to 1500 range has started more recently as I got more confident to trade bigger contracts,
Mm,
and was able to fund my account a little bit more. The really, like I said, the first month was paper trading. I did go have a few weeks of basically mostly negative,
mm,
maybe some positive here and there, but mostly what I like to call the growing pain phase.
that's right.
Um, and then I started getting more confident, and so about 2 to 3 weeks of mostly negative, then about then 2 to 3 weeks about being equal negative, equal positive, and then about the past 3 weeks been mostly positive.
Awesome. And that's real money though too, right? You got
Yes, real money.
yeah,
I
you got
find it. I've had some people say, why don't you go back to paper trading if you're having negative days. For me, I've noticed that I don't know why there's definitely not the same emotion when paper trading,
yeah.
and depending on what tools you use to test or do it, um, it's just not the same for me as with real money. So I, in a way, prefer to lose the real money and learn the hard way.
That's actually,
That's just what
one
sticks with
one
me.
of the trading greats, Stephen Orr. He's been a guest several times. He talks about the same concept. Like paper trading, you should utilize for understanding the interface, understanding the basics. But once you get that momentum, like just go into it, right? Because it really gives you that discipline. Now, a lot of people might go, well, maybe you come from money, right? Like, I don't know if that's true or not. But how much money did you start with in when you actually went live? When you
I
and
started
started that
with
process.
I started with about 1,500.
Oh, okay. So not like a crazy amount,
No,
right?
not like a crazy amount.
Yeah, not like 5 million or anything like that. And
No,
and
no.
so obviously you were inspired by your dad, who's like making crazy. I mean, his standard is like 5 to 6 figures a day right now, right? Is that correct?
Yes,
Because you were telling me
yes.
how he made like 4 figures today backstage,
It was
and
a
he
few days
was
ago,
a few days ago, but
and he was upset.
he was upset. Yeah. Do you
Yes.
mind sharing to the audience a little bit about your dad's journey from what you understand?
Yeah, so I don't know exactly how he started. I believe,
Hmm.
based off what I'm told, is that somebody reached out to him about getting into trading. Um, and we are big Christians, big Pentecostal Christians, so we always pray about everything. And I know he told me he prayed about it a lot, and he got basically the okay, and that's what he wanted to do. And he's just having basically extreme success. I don't know how, because I mean, my dad's very smart, but I don't think he's had basically a negative day since he started.
That's
And
crazy.
I don't know how
I,
because
I, I just remember at the very beginning because I know he joined one of our monthly physician investing master classes, decided to move forward, and like, dude, he made 2,800 first day live, but then after a month, right, of being with us, his account was already over 40K. And then last
yeah,
time we heard it's like over 60K now. And trading is a game of wins and losses, right? So you I mean, like he's definitely developing into becoming an elite trader in his own right, right?
yeah,
Um,
he's been doing very well.
yeah, no, for sure. So, obviously that inspired you. What was that time frame roughly? For him to kind of catch on and for you to come in and look at this really, with serious intent. Because you came in maybe what 2 months after he came in, something like that.
I'm not sure when he started. I just
Uh
remember us going on a vacation and him
oh yeah.
sitting me down early because both of us are early risers. Well, you know, my
Mm.
husband sometimes sleeps in a little bit. So we were just sitting on the couch talking over coffee, and he's like, "I really want you to get into this." So that was the first time I ever heard of him doing it. So I can only assume it was maybe about 2 months.
Was this during the family trip in Italy?
No, unfortunately, I
Or
was not privileged to go on that.
oh, you. I see. So this was like a family get together coffee.
Yes, this was
Yeah,
a family get together with just between my parents and me and my
I see.
husband. And we went on
Oh,
a
I
little
see.
trip here in
Gotcha.
Orlando, actually. So I was a
Okay.
local trip for
It
me.
was a local trip. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, from what I heard, like he was celebrating in Italy after the account went up to over 40K in the first month, like I
They
said.
had a
So
fun they had a
now,
fun
well,
time.
now I know we're obviously very happy for your success, but people listening in like 40K in 1 month, like after learning something, like how is this not get rich quick, Katarina? Right? Like, what do you?
Because of discipline. It's also all dependent on the market. Sometimes it could obviously move up very quickly and a lot one day and be in consolidation or just not really moving that much the other day. Like
Mhm.
when my dad made the four figures, I told him, I was like, well, that's still a good number to make. But every day is not going to be as profitable as the other, or there's always going to be differing days. There's differing factors and everything.
Mhm.
And you just got to also look at the trades and make sure, again, you follow your strategy and discipline and enter good trades. Because I've been in that situation where I've been like, oh, this looks okay. I think it could probably go up a lot here. And it's just down. And it's just definitely discipline and strategy.
Do you feel like there's also a science aspect to this that makes it very methodical for you?
Say yes and no. I mean, there's definitely, it's really basic, boring, simple. That's the best way to trade is same strategy basically every day, very boring strategies. You don't need a million different indicators. You just need a strategy. Stick with that strategy because I've done also the
Mm-hmm.
thing where, okay, I'm going to try doing these three strategies today and kind of mesh them all into one. And
Mm-hmm.
I've not had the best success doing that. But typically, if I stick to one simple strategy, being like, okay, I'm looking for this specific thing, and tells me this is my entry point. That's honestly the best science there is to it. It's just simple, boring, repeatable.
I love it. I love it. And so obviously your goal now, I know after being immersed for a minimum of 2 to 3 months, you're wanting to hit the 2 grand to 3 grand a day, as your
Yes.
next like steps. What do you feel like this could be for you? Do you see yourself down the road managing money, or do you just want to, as of right now, focus on making money as much as possible for you, and you'd be happy with that?
See myself managing some.
Mm,
I'm really focused on just getting the basics down right now before I even kind of consider that. That's just how my mind works. I'm someone that's very being like, okay, I got to focus on this. Once I achieve this particular goal, then I can start expanding into looking at the next step. So
mm,
I could see myself doing managing money in the future, but right now I'm just focusing on hitting consistent days, a certain amount every day consistently for a month, 2 months, and
yeah.
then maybe moving on to that step.
Well, listen, this foundational skill set can open up many doors. I'm glad to hear that you took the leap of faith, you followed your father's advice and his success footsteps, right? To make this not only a full-time endeavor, but to have sights on bigger goals. So, congratulations, Katarina. Thank you so much for your time today, for sharing your journey, and indirectly through you sharing Dr. Joe's journey as well. I hope everyone listening here can, got some insights on how to not only make futures and commodities, right, a very fulfilling part of your life in terms of a career to potentially explore, but understand that this is a high income skill set that if you commit to, not only can you have it for the rest of your life, right, but the better you get at it, the more money you can make and the more options you then can have in life. So again, Katarina, I look forward to connecting with you, additionally speaking, moving forward to check in on your progress. And hopefully by that point, you're going to be on your way to making millions with us.
Yes, thank you.
Alrighty. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a blessed day.
Thank you, you too.